In today's episode, we're uncovering the dark side of the orca entertainment industry with 3 shocking stories of trainers who fell victim to these powerful predators. From a trainer in Japan who believed mixing dolphins and orcas in the same tank was a safe idea, to the first ever recorded orca attack involving 2 trainers at once. But first, let's dive into the tragic story of Savannah Calloway. On the humid morning of September 23, 2015, Gulf Coast Marine Adventure Park in Biloxi, Mississippi, prepared for another day of performances. The newly renovated 5,000-seat stadium was nearly full as tourists sought shelter from the late summer heat, unaware that they would witness one of the most horrific incidents in marine park history. Gulf Coast Marine Adventure Park, founded in 2001 by former marine biologist Dr. James Henderson, had transformed from a modest rehabilitation center into one of the Southeast's premier marine attractions. The park's crown jewel was Nova, a 20-foot female orca captured in the waters off Russia in 2008. At 8,500 pounds, Nova was smaller than most performing orcas, but her agility and intelligence made her shows particularly spectacular. Savannah Calloway, 31, had been Nova's primary trainer since 2010. Even as a child growing up in coastal Alabama, her genuine compassion for marine life set her apart. She spent countless hours volunteering at rescue centers, often staying long after closing to comfort injured animals. That same empathy guided her academic pursuits, leading to a master's degree in marine mammal science at the University of Miami. When Savannah joined Gulf Coast's apprentice program, her unwavering kindness, innovative training techniques, and keen attention to each animal's unique signals quickly earned her a reputation as both a gifted trainer and a deeply caring soul. By early 2015, troubling patterns had emerged in Nova's behavior. The orca began showing signs of stereotypic behavior, repetitive swimming patterns, and unusual vocalizations during night hours. Dr. Rebecca Simpson, the park's lead veterinarian, documented a series of concerning changes. Nova had started refusing meals, displaying aggressive posturing toward junior trainers, and showing increasing resistance to basic commands she had performed flawlessly for years. In March, Nova had her first serious incident, pinning a trainer against the pool wall during a routine exercise. Though no injuries occurred, Savannah noted it as a critical warning sign. By summer, Nova's unpredictable behavior escalated. She began ignoring recall signals, swimming erratic patterns during performances, and emitting unusual vocalizations that veteran trainers had never heard before. Savannah voiced her concerns repeatedly in staff meetings. Her log entry from September 15th detailed Nova's increasingly unstable state, noting erratic eye tracking during sessions, refusal of basic commands, and more frequent aggressive displays. Most concerning was an incident that morning when Nova charged the underwater viewing window, something she had never done before. Despite these warnings, park management, under pressure to maintain attendance numbers during the crucial tourist season, insisted the show continue. The morning of September 23rd carried an unusual tension. Nova's pre-dawn behavior had been particularly concerning, with the orca emitting a series of high-pitched whistles and clicks throughout the night shift. Night trainer Derek Foster had never heard such vocalizations in his 8 years working with marine mammals. Adding to the already volatile situation, the park's maintenance records would later reveal that the sophisticated filtration system had malfunctioned overnight, disrupting the careful balance of Nova's tank environment. At 11:15 a.m., as Savannah began the main show, even the most experienced staff members sensed something was wrong. The usual upbeat music echoed through the stadium as she introduced Nova to the crowd of 4,300 visitors. But the orca's initial entry into the performance area was hesitant. Nova circled the perimeter 3 times, a behavior she hadn't displayed since her early training days, before responding to Savannah's signals. The first half of the performance proceeded with mounting tension. Nova performed her standard repertoire, but each behavior seemed forced. During a normally routine back float, Nova suddenly snapped her jaws, an action that caused junior trainer Maria Delgado to radio a warning to Savannah. But in the noise of the show, with music blasting and crowds cheering, the warning was misunderstood as a technical issue with the sound system. The critical moment came during the show's signature sequence, the Hurricane Ride, a complex maneuver where Savannah would ride on Nova's rostrum as the Orca performed a series of rapid spins before a vertical launch. As they began the sequence, Nova's body language shifted dramatically. Her echolocation clicks became rapid and intense, audible even over the show's music. Rather than executing the planned gentle spin, Nova suddenly accelerated, her massive body twisting violently to the left. The force threw Savannah 15 feet across the tank. Before she could activate her emergency flotation device, Nova was upon her. The initial impact was devastating. Nova's jaws, capable of generating over 19,000 pounds of force, clamped down on Savannah's torso. The crowd's cheers turned to screams as Nova thrashed her head side to side, the movement sickeningly similar to how orcas tear apart seals in the wild. An instant wave of panic threatened to break into chaos, but the park's emergency loudspeaker blared instructions urging everyone to stay calm. Security staff positioned at each aisle signaled sections of the audience to begin a controlled evacuation, while others were instructed to remain seated temporarily so paramedics could reach the pool unhindered. Families huddled together, some parents attempting to shield their children from the grisly scene, tears and gasps rippling through the stands. Park employees repeated pleas for order, knowing a panicked rush for the exits would only hinder rescue efforts. What followed was 7 minutes of escalating horror. Unlike previous orca incidents where the animals typically released trainers after initial contact, Nova's attack was relentless and methodical. She repeatedly dragged Savannah to the bottom of the 35-foot tank, holding her under for increasingly longer intervals. During one surfacing, Nova threw Savannah's body into the air, catching her again with precise predatory accuracy, a hunting technique documented in wild orcas. The water, normally crystal clear, began to cloud with blood as Nova's powerful teeth inflicted catastrophic damage. Each time they surfaced, Nova seemed to become more frenzied. She ignored the emergency recall signals, the food being thrown into the water, and even the high-pitched underwater tones designed to disorient orcas during emergencies. At one point, Nova pinned Savannah against the underwater viewing window, giving horrified spectators a close-up view of the attack that would haunt them forever. Assistant trainer Miguel Rodriguez attempted to deploy the emergency net system, but the mechanism jammed. Senior trainer Lisa Cooper activated the underwater recall tones, a system designed to call orcas to a separate medical pool, but Nova appeared to be in what marine mammal experts would later term a behavioral lockdown, completely unresponsive to external stimuli. The emergency response team finally managed to separate Nova from Savannah using a specialized pole system. Paramedics pronounced her dead at 11:47 a.m., citing massive trauma and drowning as the immediate causes of death. The investigation that followed revealed a complex pattern of ignored warnings. While Savannah had documented Nova's concerning behavior, she too had fallen victim to a common phenomenon among experienced trainers: their belief that their connection with the animal would overcome any risks. Despite her own written concerns, Savannah continued to perform with Nova, trusting in their 5-year bond and her ability to manage the orca's behavior. Other senior trainers who had witnessed Nova's deterioration remained silent, trapped beneath professional obligation and genuine concern for their colleague. Internal documents showed that staff concerns about the orca's increasingly aggressive and erratic behavior had been repeatedly reported and dismissed. That final maintenance issue with the filtration system appeared to be the trigger that pushed an already unstable animal over the edge. But the true failure lay in the collective denial of Nova's obvious distress signals. The park faced severe consequences. Multiple safety violations were cited, particularly focusing on management's decision to continue performances despite documented concerns about Nova's behavior. Gulf Coast Marine Adventure Park's insurance costs skyrocketed, and attendance dropped sharply. By early 2016, the park announced its permanent closure. Nova was transferred to a larger facility with stricter protocols regarding animal behavior assessment. She never performed with trainers in the water again, living out her remaining years in a more regulated environment. Savannah's death underscored the critical need to recognize behavioral warnings and the dangers of overconfidence when working with powerful predators. Her story is a stark reminder that no bond, no matter how strong, can override the unpredictable nature of these animals. Yet, as tragic as these warnings are, they were still not enough. On the other end of the world in Japan, a trainer believed it was a good idea to stage a show featuring orcas and dolphins together, a decision that would soon prove to be a disastrous mistake. On December 8, 2013, Kamogawa SeaWorld in Chiba Prefecture, Japan, was preparing for its afternoon winter showcase. The crisp winter air carried the scent of the Pacific Ocean across the facility, where visitors gathered early, eager to witness what the park promoted as a groundbreaking demonstration of interspecies cooperation. But what began as an ambitious performance would soon become a tragic reminder of nature's unpredictable power. Robert Wilson, 45, stood at the edge of the main pool reviewing his notes from the morning session. His journey to becoming a senior trainer at Kamogawa had been unconventional. After working as a veterinary surgeon in Australia for 12 years, he had grown frustrated with treating the aftermath of marine mammal incidents rather than preventing them. In 2008, while treating 3 critically injured dolphins at Australia's Marine World, he developed innovative rehabilitation techniques that incorporated behavioral modification. His success caught the attention of Kamogawa SeaWorld, which was seeking someone with both medical knowledge and behavioral expertise for their expanding marine mammal program. The transition from veterinarian to trainer had taken 2 years of intensive study, including learning Japanese and completing Kamogawa's rigorous certification program. By 2010, Robert had earned his place as one of only 3 Western trainers at the facility, respected for his methodical approach to animal behavior and his ability to bridge Eastern and Western training philosophies. Kamogawa SeaWorld had opened in 1970, initially focused on dolphin rehabilitation and research. The facility expanded in 2005 when they acquired Kaya, an 18-foot female orca from a European facility. As the park's only orca, Kaya was housed in an enclosure adjacent to the dolphin pools, a common arrangement in smaller marine parks. What began as a space necessity evolved into an opportunity when management noticed Kaya's apparent tolerance of the neighboring dolphins during separated training sessions. By 2012, facing competition from larger parks, Kamogawa's management began exploring the possibility of mixed species performances. They cited successful examples of different dolphin species performing together and pointed to Kaya's calm demeanor during parallel training sessions. Despite concerns from some staff members, the potential to offer something unprecedented in Asian marine parks proved too tempting to ignore. Robert had initially supported the program's careful development but grew concerned as training progressed. His experience with marine mammal behavior made him particularly attuned to subtle stress indicators. He documented changes in Kaya's swimming patterns and vocalizations, especially when sharing the performance pool with dolphins during rehearsals. The introduction of a new male dolphin, Mizu, to the program in November 2013 had further complicated the dynamics. That morning, Robert had filed a formal report expressing his concerns about Kaya's increasingly territorial behavior during joint training sessions. He recommended suspending the mixed species program pending further evaluation, but with a sold-out holiday season ahead, management opted to continue with modified safety protocols. At 2:15 p.m., as visitors filled the stadium, Robert observed Kaya swimming in increasingly erratic patterns. The show began at 2:30 with Kaya and 3 Pacific white-sided dolphins performing their choreographed routines. The audience watched in amazement as the massive orca moved alongside the smaller cetaceans, unaware of the mounting tension beneath the surface. 20 minutes into the performance, Mizu deviated slightly from his assigned position, entering what had been established as Kaya's performance area. The orca's response was immediate and intense. Years of isolation combined with territorial instincts triggered an aggressive response that no amount of training could override. Robert, recognizing the danger, initiated emergency separation procedures. But before the dolphins could be recalled to their holding pool, Kaya charged toward Mizu. Robert positioned himself to direct the dolphin away, a standard protective maneuver that had worked in previous situations. This time, however, Kaya's trajectory shifted. The attack was quick and devastating. Kaya's initial strike knocked Robert from the platform into the 59-degree waters. Before he could activate his emergency signaling device, she seized him in her jaws, crushing his torso. The audience's amazed gasps turned to screams as blood clouded the water. Support staff rushed to their emergency positions, but Kaya's erratic movements made deploying the rescue nets impossible. The presence of panicked dolphins in the pool complicated rescue efforts, their distressed movements appearing to intensify Kaya's aggression. For 3 horrifying minutes, Robert endured a series of violent attacks as Kaya repeatedly dragged him under, surfacing only to shake him before submerging again. Between attacks, he attempted to issue control commands in both English and Japanese, his training instincts persisting even as his strength faded. The facility's rapid response team struggled to manage the unprecedented crisis. They had protocols for orca incidents and dolphin emergencies, but nothing that addressed both simultaneously. At 2:53 p.m., Kaya drove Robert to the bottom of the 40-foot tank, pinning him against the acrylic viewing window. When rescue divers finally reached him, his emergency vest had been torn away and he was unresponsive. Despite immediate medical intervention and CPR, Robert was pronounced dead at Kamogawa General Hospital at 3:47 p.m. The investigation revealed how the combination of Kaya's isolation, territorial instincts, and the stress of mixed-species performances had created a lethal situation. The practice of combining orcas with smaller cetaceans, while innovative, had failed to account for fundamental aspects of orca behavior. Kamogawa SeaWorld suspended its mixed-species program immediately. Following Japanese protocols for marine mammal incidents, Kaya was transferred to a specialized research facility in Nagoya. The facility returned to separate species performances and implemented new safety measures that would influence marine parks throughout Asia. Robert's death led to significant changes in international marine park protocols. The Japan Association of Marine Parks and Aquariums developed strict guidelines prohibiting mixed-species performances with orcas, which were subsequently adopted worldwide. His background in both veterinary medicine and training helped establish new standards for assessing behavioral risks in captive marine mammals. Yet, those closest to Robert remember more than just his professional achievements. Outside his demanding schedule at Kamogawa, he volunteered at local animal shelters and organized beach cleanups, driven by a deep-seated belief that humanity owed the ocean the same compassion it showed terrestrial life. Friends recalled that on his days off, he would host free veterinary workshops for underfunded wildlife initiatives, never hesitating to share his expertise for a worthy cause. Today, Robert's story serves as a crucial case study in marine mammal training programs globally, highlighting the dangers of prioritizing innovation over established safety principles. His tragic death continues to influence how facilities approach the complex challenges of managing isolated orcas in captivity, ensuring that the drive for unique entertainment never again compromises fundamental understanding of marine mammal behavior. Our videos reveal the dangers of turning orcas into entertainment. We've covered countless cases where trainers lost their lives, proving that these intelligent creatures are done being exploited for profit. They want freedom in their own ocean. But we've never shared a case quite like the next one. 2 trainers attacked at the same time during a live show. If there was ever a story that should put an end to these performances, this is it. By the end, you as the viewer should be convinced orca shows must be banned for good. Now, let's dive into this horrific next story. March 15, 2007 began as a milestone day at Mediterranean Marine World in Valencia, Spain, but would end in a tragedy that would forever change how marine parks approach multi-orca performances. The morning sun glinted off the surface of the performance pool where trainers were preparing for the debut of a new duo routine. No one could have predicted that the careful integration of two orcas, successful during months of preparation, would lead to the deaths of two of Europe's most experienced trainers. Mediterranean Marine World had grown from humble beginnings. Founded in 1995 by marine biologist Dr. Antonio Ruiz, the facility initially focused on rehabilitating injured sea turtles and dolphins along Spain's eastern coast. By 2000, it had expanded into public education and performances, building a reputation for its commitment to both entertainment and research. The park's crown jewel was its 8 million-gallon orca habitat, featuring underwater viewing galleries and a 4,000-seat stadium. At the heart of the park's success was Estrella, a 19-foot female orca captured off the coast of Iceland in 1999. Known for her precise movements and reliable temperament, she had performed hundreds of shows without incident. Her primary trainer, Rebecca Torres, had worked with her for 6 years, developing an impressive repertoire of behaviors that made their shows the park's main attraction. Rebecca's journey to becoming a senior trainer began in her hometown of Buenos Aires, Argentina. The daughter of a veterinarian, she spent her childhood rehabilitating injured wildlife. After earning her degree in marine biology, she worked with dolphins in Argentina before being recruited by Mediterranean Marine World in 2001. At 29, she had become one of Europe's most respected orca trainers, known for her careful attention to animal behavior and safety protocols. The park's expansion plans included adding a male orca to create more dynamic performances. Matteo, a 21-foot male, arrived from France's Marineland in December 2006. His trainer, Michael Weber, transferred with him to ensure continuity of care. Michael, 34, brought 13 years of marine mammal experience, including 4 years as Matteo's primary trainer in France. His passion for marine life began during his childhood in Hamburg, where he volunteered at the local aquarium. After studying marine biology at the University of Kiel, he dedicated his career to working with cetaceans. The integration process had been methodically planned for over 6 months. Estrella and Matteo were first introduced through adjacent pools, allowing them to observe each other while remaining physically separated. Gradually, they shared pool time under careful supervision, showing positive social behaviors that encouraged the training staff. By March 2007, they were performing training sessions together flawlessly, leading to the decision to debut their combined show. The morning of March 15th began with a final rehearsal at 7 a.m. Both orcas performed perfectly, executing their synchronized breaches and tail slaps with precision. The stadium's acoustics were tested, water quality checked, and emergency equipment verified. Rebecca and Michael reviewed their positions and signals one last time, their confidence built on months of preparation. At 11:30 a.m., with 2,000 spectators filling the stadium, the show began. Estrella and Matteo entered the main pool to enthusiastic applause, their black and white forms gliding gracefully through the water. The first segment showcased their individual strengths, Estrella's aerial displays and Matteo's powerful breaches. Everything proceeded according to plan until the crucial middle segment. At 11:47 a.m., during a synchronized swim portion, both trainers entered the water. Rebecca positioned herself near Estrella's dorsal fin while Michael prepared to join Matteo. The routine called for a parallel swim, with both orcas maintaining a precise distance from each other. What happened next occurred so quickly that many spectators initially thought it was part of the show. Matteo suddenly deviated from his path, positioning himself between Estrella and Rebecca. In the wild, this movement would be recognized as a dominance display. In the confined space of the performance pool, it triggered an immediate response. Estrella, interpreting this as a challenge to her established territory, charged toward Matteo with unexpected speed. Rebecca, caught between the two massive orcas, had no time to react. The water erupted into chaos as Estrella, perhaps attempting to protect her trainer or assert dominance, seized Rebecca's leg in her jaws. Michael immediately dove toward them, but Mateo, likely responding to the sudden aggression, grabbed him around the torso. The next 4 minutes unfolded in horrifying detail. The crowd's cheers turned to screams as both trainers were repeatedly dragged beneath the surface. The water, maintained at 52 degrees, churned red. Emergency response teams rushed to their positions, but the presence of two agitated orcas complicated their rescue efforts. Carlos Mendoza, the facility's senior safety coordinator, activated the pool's emergency lift floors while other staff deployed nets and rescue poles. But each time they attempted to separate the orcas, the animals responded with increased aggression. Estrella repeatedly took Rebecca to the bottom of the tank, releasing her only briefly before seizing her again. Mateo maintained his grip on Michael, thrashing him through the water with devastating force. At 11:52 a.m., rescue divers finally managed to pull Rebecca from the water, but the damage was catastrophic. Despite immediate CPR efforts, she was pronounced dead at the scene from a combination of severe trauma and drowning. Michael, extracted nearly a minute later, was rushed to Hospital La Fe, where doctors fought for 2 hours to save his life. He succumbed to his injuries at 1:15 p.m. The investigation that followed revealed crucial oversights in understanding orca social dynamics during high-energy performances. While Estrella and Mateo had shown compatibility during training sessions, the heightened atmosphere of a live show with its acoustic changes, audience energy, and complex choreography had fundamentally altered their social interaction. The presence of both trainers in the water simultaneously had inadvertently created a situation where territorial and protective instincts overrode months of training. Mediterranean Marine World immediately suspended all orca performances. Estrella was transferred to a newly developed marine sanctuary off the coast of Norway, and Mateo was relocated to a rehabilitation center in Iceland. The park's remaining marine mammal programs underwent an extensive review, resulting in strict guidelines for multi-animal shows. Ultimately, the orca program was never resumed. The stadium was repurposed into a marine education center dedicated to conservation and fostering a deeper understanding of marine mammals in their natural habitats. A memorial plaque honoring Rebecca Torres and Michael Weber serves as a lasting reminder of the risks involved in working with these powerful and intelligent creatures, a tragedy that forced the entire industry to reconsider the delicate balance between public entertainment and safety. This incident was particularly shocking, as it marked the first ever recorded deaths in Spain during an orca show, and the first worldwide attack involving two trainers at the same time. 2 years later, in 2009, another serious incident occurred in Tenerife when Alexis Martinez was involved in an aggressive orca attack during a training session. While this time the attack was not fatal, it further underscored the dangers of close interactions with captive orcas. Thank you for watching these chilling orca attack stories. They remind us that even our best efforts can't always protect us from the raw power of these ocean giants. If you're ready to see more harrowing orca encounters, you can watch our compilation. We'll see you there.